going on, and welcome back to another video with myself, as always, Alex Connor from Fearless Training. And today I wanted to chat to you about the most common, or some of the most common nutrition mistakes that are being made just in general. And I want to talk to you about them because a lot of people are making these mistakes and they're really common. I've noticed from speaking to a lot of other gym goers, athletes, and just observing a lot of the general sort of population and their stereotypes and the misconceptions that they have. So I wanted to chat to you about those today, nip them in the bud, give you some advice on overcoming them, and hopefully then you can better apply this to your own training, your own nutrition, and kind of clear your mind of any of the stigma and the misconceptions that you might have. So I'm gonna try and keep this one pretty short. I'm gonna aim for like 10 to 15 minutes maximum. So I'll put a stopwatch on now, and then that way we won't make it an hour-long video, but we'll see. All right, so keep it short, sharp, and sweet. So I've kind of bullet pointed a few things and a few topics, and again, they're in no particular order. These are just some things that I've observed over my time in the industry and what I'm kind of seeing now as the most common mistakes. So number one, okay, for me, is not tracking, guessing, and the misconceptions that come with it with nutrition. So there's a lot of people, they're just kind of guessing with their nutrition. They don't really know, how much food they should be eating, what kind of food they should be eating, etc. And they're just kind of going out there and going on a whim. And then they're wondering why they're not getting results, or they're not going, in the right direction. And then you say, hey, why don't you track your food, or do you, get a coach, or learn to track your food, or research it and have a bit of an idea. And a lot of people go, oh no, that's too hard. Well, it's like, well, don't complain if you can't put in the effort and you're not getting the result, because if you're not, what you put in is what you get out to a degree. Now, tracking, it doesn't have to be forever, and I think a lot of people have this misconception of tracking where you say, oh, I've got to track your food, and they just think of getting a pen and paper out and having to do all this maths, and it's really simple. Look, if I can do it, you can do it, anyone can do it. We've got all this technology now, we've got MyFitnessPal applications, FitGenie, etc., all that carry on, whatever application you use or choose to use, and it's so accessible because generally everyone's got a smartphone and we can do it that way. So there's not really an excuse for not tracking, and I think this kind of sets you up for success, because for most people, regardless of what kind of results you want, if you learn to track, it teaches you some basic fundamentals like what's in your food, how many calories you're actually consuming, because I tell you now, the calories that you are consuming, or most people are consuming, compared to what they think they're consuming, are two different, very different things. So it kind of teaches you without knowing. It's almost like stabilizers on a bike. It just gives you this kind of like feel and principle, and then when you take them off, you've always got that kind of awareness to a degree. And obviously the more you track, the better you get at it, rather than going in and guessing. So for me, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes most people are making. They're not willing to put in the time, yet they're wasting so much time and money guessing, where if they just started to track and actually had an idea of what nutrition they need, what they need to provide the body congruent to their goals, they would actually get the results and slay a lot of misconceptions too. All right, the second point is the black and white approach people have, and the fear of food. So, speaking to a lot of people, again, it's this whole clean, dirty, healthy, unhealthy, on the plan, off the plan, on the diet, off the diet, good, bad, bullshit. Now, that there is a recipe for disaster, because not only will it form a bad relationship with foods, but it can actually lead to a lot of eating disorders, especially if someone has been in a phase where they've been starving themselves of nutrients. They can have this fear of food or certain foods. It might be fats, it might be, the more quote unquote dirty foods, or the more processed foods or fast foods, where really you don't need to be scared of those foods. It comes down to common sense, moderation, and again, providing the body with what it actually needs. And calories in, calories out, and some basic fundamental principles there. But there is this stigma that, people are going, oh, I'm on the diet, I'm eating clean, I'm dieting, and then they might have something like, a chocolate cake or a burger, and then they'll go, oh, fuck it, like I've done that, now I'm just gonna eat whatever I want for the rest of the day or the week because I've spoiled it. So rather than doing not much damage, they've gone ahead now and just blown out completely, because they think that because they made one mistake, it's going to be the be all and end all. and they don't realize that one meal won't make you fat and won't make you skinny in the grand scheme of things, and it's easy to kind of tidy that up. So a lot of people have got this really bad habit, and it sort of grows. And I mentioned eating disorders, and it might sound a bit stupid, but this is how they develop, because people then start to have this thought process where I can't eat that food, that's off limits, or when they do, they can't control themselves around that food. Rather than having a little bit of that food, they go over the top. They'd rather have just loads of it or none at all, which really is a mild eating disorder if you can't control yourself, especially if you've not been in a competition preparation period or something like that. Obviously there's different scenarios where it's more appropriate. So having that black and white approach really is hindering people, and they're also closing their mind to the fact that they can eat a variety of foods. They can have these more highly luxurious foods, if you like. When you go out, you can enjoy yourself. There is no good or bad foods. It's all about calories, macronutrients, and it's all relative. And again, if people actually took the time to educate themselves, or again, find a good coach that could teach them about this, they wouldn't make those mistakes, and they would have a lot of freedom. It's amazing when you see someone go through that transformation where they've had that mindset, and you can teach and educate someone, and where they come out of it, whether that's in 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 3 months, or whatever it is, and they go, wow, I was restricting myself so much, and I didn't need to. I didn't need to be scared of foods, and I didn't need to limit myself. I just needed to understand some basic principles, and I had that freedom. And at the end of the day, guys, you want lifestyle. You want to be able to eat what you want. For me, success is, and with my clients in health and fitness, is being able to eat what you want, still spend time with your family, still train, still do all the things you want to do, and maintain and look and feel great. Now, of course, if you've got a very specific goal and you want to be an elite athlete, there are times of sacrifice. But for most people, they just want to look better than the average. They want to look at themselves in the mirror and feel confident, comfortable, and they want to be able to do things with their family and friends. And that there is success, having that freedom. Moving on to the next point. Number 3, the dreamer bulk, or eating too much. This is probably more prevalent in the younger generation and the younger guys who are coming up in the gym, trying to lift or trying to get big. They've read a few bodybuilding magazines, or they've seen a few things, or the big guy training in the gym who just tells them eat heaps of food. Now it's good advice and it's bad advice, because a lot of young ones probably do need to eat more, but then it can be used as an excuse just to absolutely go just way too far and eat way too much processed or shit foods and put on excess body fat that doesn't really need to be put on, because again, the fatter you get is not advantageous of growing muscle. So they see their scales climbing, and they'll go, wow, I'm putting on muscle, but really they're not. They're just putting on fat, and their strength is not going up relative. So it's kind of like a bit of an excuse, I find. I'm on the bulk, I can eat shit. Well, no, you don't have to eat shit just because you're on a bulk. Yes, you need to eat in a calorie surplus, but it's not as big as I believe most people are thinking that it is, especially this younger generation, or in men who want to get big. It's used as an excuse. So again, if you're someone who wants to gain weight, find out what you need. Learn the little basics so that you can grow quality muscle, and make sure you're progressing in the gym over time. If you're eating more and you're not lifting more over time, then you're not growing. It's as simple as that. You might be able to do a little bit of body recomposition, but if you want to gain lean mass, you've got to eat in the surplus, but you don't have to go over the top and just gorge yourself, because you're just going to be adding body fat, which is kind of going to hinder, and if anything, it's going to be counterproductive to your goal, because if you want to look better, then you've got to lose that body fat again and spend more time cutting, which means you could spend more time gaining muscle, which is really what you want, especially in the early days. So I think that dreamer bulk is something that's used as an excuse, and conversely, the opposite, which we're going to talk about in a minute, which is the next point I want to make, which is trying to stay too lean and starving yourselves. Now, there's a bit of an interaction within that, but you've either got these guys and girls who are, trying to get massive. And I think, again, this one's more prevalent in women, the staying too lean thing, because then they're starving themselves, right? So guys usually are trying to get massive, and then they're trying to cut and starve themselves. And then you've got your women who are generally more on the trying to stay skinny and lean and all that carry on. And there's a multitude of problems with that. Again, it's a bad mindset to have. You want to set a goal and stick to it and understand. So they've got a lot of them are guessing straight away. They don't understand about basic nutrition or training. So straight away off the bat, it's all sort of, useless, because there's no basic principles set up. And you want to be training effectively and getting enough nutrition in before anything, and just learn some of the basics. But then you've got these young girls or girls coming up who want to be fitness models, and women who are starving themselves, and there is absolutely no need. It's horrible to see. They kill their metabolism. They can have other problems as well with their menstrual cycle and hormones. And then again, not only that, they're scared of foods. They've got a bad relationship. They might have this binging sort of habit that they've gained. They get these eating disorders, or they stay lean. They can only maintain it for a certain period of time because they've starved the body. They've reduced calories so much and the metabolism so slow that when they do start eating again, they put on all this weight because they eat too much too soon, or they just blow out and eat all these foods that they've been craving because they've been neglecting or restricting themselves when they didn't need to. And again, the body's metabolism is absolutely jacked up. It's shit. It's down on its knees, and the body's just a sponge. It wants to gain all this body fat. Not to mention, they might have been cutting out specific foods, so the body's not even used to these foods anymore, and then they've got all these gut troubles, and it's an absolute domino effect and plethora. But a lot of people are doing this stuff. It's eating too much or starving, these very what's the word I'm looking for now, drastic or measures that they're taking, rather than just doing things slowly and a little bit more succinct and calculated. Mixing my words up. Need some carbs. They're going into these drastic, vicious things with their body, and there's no need to do it. So it's a bit of a shame. So again, if you're someone who's doing that, don't. Okay? Again, educate yourself. Start to learn some basic nutrition. Don't starve yourself. Don't gorge yourself. It's all about moderation. Don't be scared of foods, and don't be trying to stay too lean for too long, because the body will not have it. You can still maintain a really good lean physique by eating good foods, slowly increasing them up over time. And if you're a newbie beginner, you're going to gain muscle and lose fat, which is body recomposition anyway. So you've got to have a specific goal for a specific period of time. You've got to stick to that and then slowly move between the two. If you go from one extreme to the other too fast, you're going to gain lots of weight or lose lots of muscle, kill your metabolism, kill your mind, and you're going to create bad relationships with food in general. The last point I want to make, we're approaching 12 minutes here, guys, all right, I'm going to keep this under 15, is the gain and the cut and the no consistency. And that again relates back to these last 2 points, right? So I speak to a lot of people in the gym, out of the gym, wherever, and they're doing this, I'm going to gain for, I'm going to do 3 weeks and I'm going to cut for 1 week, or I'm going to gain for 6 weeks and cut for 12 weeks. And what are you doing, man? What do you expect to achieve in that period of time? Even if you're a beginner, you can't gain muscle mass that fast and then cut. You're wasting your time. You need to set specific periods where you're gaining muscle, and then specific periods where you're losing fat. And it's this whole gain, cut, and they end up spinning their wheels. There's no consistency and they get nowhere. So if this is you, if you're someone who's trying to gain for a very short period of time and then cut for a short period of time, is no point. Take it from me, I've tried it, I've been there, I've done it, I've made the mistakes. What you want to be doing is you want to set a specific period of time where you can dedicate to gaining lean mass. You want to make sure progressing overload over time with your nutrition, with proper training, training smart, training hard, and then set time periods where you might run a mini cut or a fat loss phase. But if you're someone who's new and you're not overly overweight, there's no need to run a cut or a deficit for a long period of time, because again, you're going to have the ability to recompose your body, gain muscle and lose fat. If you're a beginner, and you're probably going to find that over time your body composition is going to improve anyway, and you're going to require more calories and more food as you grow. And then again, unless you're going to be a physique athlete, there's no need to get to super ridiculous low body fat levels. You can do it on quite high calories, looking beach lean with your top off. And it's all about that science and strategy, and again, being smart. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you are doing any of these points, address them, okay? These might be some of the reasons why you're not progressing, and again, they are some of the most common nutrition mistakes that I'm running into. There's a lot more that we could talk about on this. If you've got any questions, post them down below in the comments. I'm happy to help where I can. If you've got more in-depth questions or queries and you want to know more about coaching, contact me below. I'm all about helping people. This is what I do. I love it. If I can help you, I will help you. Thank you for watching. As always, I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. And lastly, but not least, as always, stay fucking fearless.